What's up, and welcome back. If you have never been here before, welcome. My name is Mason Dupree, and this sort of serves as sort of a documentary, sort of a documentation of my journey as, I'm building my own business, which is an advertising agency, and then working for another one full-time as well. And then, since I am in marketing, I just want to make a quick disclaimer. I always make this in the beginning of the video, but I'm not trying to sell you anything. These are purely for my own reflection, as well as to build some skills, as well as to just sort of provide some value. Because if I've recorded them before and I've never really posted them, and they were valuable to myself, so I figured, maybe someone else could get some value out of it as well. And that kind of brings up another point. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about consistency in content, and how I kind of solved the issue of running out of content. And, I think one of the really great things is I spend time replying to all the comments. It's not a ton yet, but I think that's sort of an advantage. So if you guys have any questions related to marketing in any realm, I've been doing this for like 8 years. So if you guys have any questions about anything, Instagram marketing, automations, CRMs, ads, all kinds of stuff, I'm happy to help. Happy to answer any particular questions you guys have. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of mention that at the front of the video, just so you guys have an opportunity. I would love to kind of interact with you guys in the comment section. But anyway, kind of hopping into these videos. The new topic I want to talk about today was being consistent and kind of creating content. And I've set sort of an aggressive pace. Not intentionally, I didn't set out to do this, but now I have kind of kept it up for a while, and I think this is going to be sort of the pace for the YouTube videos, but I'm going to be putting one out every 2 days. And that is a bit aggressive. And I've started to feel that, and it's not really that, I'm like worn out or burned out or any of that ridiculous, stuff. It's more just that I want to make sure that when I get on the camera, I'm actually sharing something of value and not just wasting people's time, 8 minutes or so, or even my time. If I've got nothing good to say, then, there's just no reason to say it. But today, I was thinking about it. I was like, well, how am I going to get this content? Where am I going to source this content from? On the particular days where I just don't have great ideas. Over like the last 8 videos, this included, I've had 6 videos where it was super easy to talk about whatever it was going to be. Recently, over the last 2 videos, I've sort of had a bit of a struggle with what I wanted to say. I think the curiosity video was kind of bad, and I think the video I posted last was kind of bad. But that's kind of the point. This is an iterative process, and I'm going to kind of get into it and just keep working on it. And not all of them are going to be great, but it's important to be critical of your own content and kind of evolve on that. And so today I was kind of thinking to myself, like, well, how am I going to solve this content issue? And that's kind of, what this big stack of books is here. I was like, where am I going to find content? Where am I going to source this idea, the ideas that I want to talk about? And I realized I have a bit of a backlog of ideas that I could kind of source things from. And it would be a good opportunity, again, to reflect on my work. So not only have I been talking to a camera and not posting it, and not only have I actually had a digital file on my laptop that is actually like a type diary where I just kind of type anything. It doesn't matter. There's no topic or rhyme or reason to that. But these books are actually for my business as well as work. And so actually, there's one with W on it down here. So I'm gonna actually pick these up. W means work. So that's like the main full-time agency. And then O is for Odigo, which is the company I'm working on. And this one right here is also an Odigo book. This October to whatever. So I lost this Sharpie I was using to mark these. I need to buy some on Amazon. But these 2 books are the newest ones. So this is actually a workbook and an Odigo book. And these are relatively empty. There's nothing in them, and they're still pretty crisp. I'll talk a bit more about why I chose these colored books. I think they're cool. That's kind of the reason why. But these guys are completely full. These are done with books, and you can see October to March was a pretty dense time. It's not a thin book, and there's a lot of content in each one of them where I've gone through, and what I usually do is do daily tasks as well as like math, observations, all kinds of stuff. And I do recommend, when it comes to content creation, this is sort of the actionable step I wanted to share, is that if you try to start doing this, journal, diary, things like that, because then you do have a backlog of things to go base content off of. At the same time, you may not have that, and I understand that. Maybe people haven't done this yet, and that's okay. This video, it kind of serves as the early version of one of these books, right? I'm just started out, and the idea is that it's going to come up as content, but I'm sure later one day I can repurpose all of this content that I'm doing right now in front of this camera. And so, really the key lesson there is to start today. And there's also some benefits to obviously journaling, and I know that a lot of people talk about them, and there's a lot of different ways in which you can journal, and I'll share kind of mine. But yeah, I think it's really valuable, not only to kind of crystallize your thoughts. Writing helps me kind of critique ideas. If I'm gonna, come up with an argument for why I should do this or that, sometimes I write it out. because it allows you to kind of distill your thought. And yeah, and you know, I do this for work too. This isn't, you know, obviously a requirement, but I do this for myself. And the way I sort of, you know, manage my books, and I had one of them marked out here so I could show you an example, is I think in this one, let's see. Yeah, so this was a particularly busy day. So what I do is there are these boxes next to the tasks in which I've got to do. And if I finish them, I check them, you know, and I usually work until I can't work anymore. In this particular period of time, I had a night job, so I would work all day long and, you know, work on as many critical tasks as I could. And my focus was always to move the needle for the business. And you just every day find some action that would really kind of make things critically better, like just much better. And if I ran out of time, then, you know, I just leave them blank. And then the next day I'd come here, I'd write down the new things I need to get done, and I'd look back over here, I create an X on the ones I didn't finish and move them over here. And so, you know, it kind of helps you with procrastination. It helps things not kind of fall through the cracks. This is where I was like distilling some thoughts. And hopefully my handwriting's not awful. I don't really want you guys to read it anyway. But yeah, you know, just actually focusing on you know, every day, kind of writing down what you're doing, your thoughts. And then these serves, you know, as great sources of content for in the future. Like today, I'm not even diving into what the content is in these books, but I get to talk about the fact that I've done these books because I think they're actually, you know, part of the reason I did so well and the way I stayed consistent, you know, in my own business and, you know, was able to actually track my own actions, you know, and make sure that I was moving the needle. It's being your own boss and pushing yourself. And I think this is kind of one of the ways I did it that worked well for me. Another couple of factors that kind of made it the way it is it's cool to have like a red book, like a sort of like an important book, if that makes sense. And so for that reason, you know, I got red. You know, you kind of want to make it feel fun and sort of like, I don't know about secret, but, you know, just, you know, interesting and fun and you know, this is like serious, right? Red. And I've done that with all my things. All my projects on my desktop, they're all code names. So whatever the video or whatever that form is about, I've actually created, you know, Greek names for, and so they're a bit more coded and a little bit more, you know, interesting, and no one's gonna know it. But even if someone opened my laptop, they'd never be able to tell what you know, what is what. I don't know. Adding that sense of privacy and security to it makes it feel more interesting. Like my document on my computer, I know no one is ever going to read it. No one is ever meant to read it. I get a little bit of PTSD reading, you know, Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, because if you've ever read that book, you'll learn that he never intended for those things to be published. Yet they're internal notes of a Roman emperor, one of the best, right? Personal notes about all kinds of struggles, written in privacy and never meant to be published. So, you know, it's also an added benefit that like on the digital world, we can add a pen to these things. So I've added a pen to my document for my writing in my journal here. And yeah, I think it's really important to just document so much. That's why I'm taking it to video. It's kind of the next level. But yeah, you know, when it comes to content, look back. I'm sure you've got some sort of source of previous experiences, you know, even small attempts. I've got pictures back from when I was doing drop shipping and stuff like that back in high school that I obviously look back on every once in a while. I've got videos where I'm talking about drop shipping back then that I've obviously never posted that are fun to just listen to myself talk and you know, the numbers I was discussing or the risk I was worried about at the time versus now. You just really get to see your growth. And so I recommend journaling, make it fun, make it interesting. It keeps you consistent, and you know, it also serves as really great content in the future and will help you again be consistent, you know, especially when it comes to content creation, because content creation is messy. The real core value there, or you know, the kind of the oil that runs off of is ideas. And so, you know, you just need to have plenty of them. And I'm fortunate enough that I did some decent amount of work here to kind of distill a lot of thoughts and can then share them with you guys in these videos. But that's kind of all I wanted to share today. I really appreciate you guys watching. You know, for you guys that have subscribed, thank you guys so much. And if you know, have any questions or anything like that, please drop them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them, or do even a whole video on it if I think that it's, you know, kind of that, you know, makes sense. But yeah, thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye.